Good morning, everyone. I hope the evening kept you well, and I hope the morning, brand new morning, keeps you even better. Okay, this will hopefully be the last step in modifying this particular application. The FOMOD utility. This will be like the last kind of like the last little addition that I want to add to it. And this is mostly for others who do manual installs. I do manual installs myself, but I use the main application to do that. This is kind of like a completely separate application, but using those functions. Okay, so I don't know how long this one will take because the install function actually has two different components to it. It's not just copying files. It's copying files and generating a report, which I'm going to put that under the copy the file banner. It's not just that. It's actually copying the files and generating a manifest which shows what files were copied. And the reason I did it that way, I mean, a lot of applications have manifests, but the reason I had to do it that way is because the way that I have the install method set up is you can specify the type of installation you want to do. It's just simply it's just a parameter you pass to it. And you can say, I want to do a direct install, which installs the files directly into the folder. You can do a symlink, which provides a simulated link. The only thing I haven't done is to put like a folder junction in. I haven't had time to look at it. I'll eventually get to that because I like the idea of the folder junctions and things like that. The only thing this doesn't have, it does not have a virtual file system. And there are benefits to a virtual file system. But I also like the fact that it's a physical file system so I can see specifically what that is. So to me, there's kind of pluses and minuses to both. It's pick and choose what you like. Okay. Um, so back onto this. All right. So there are methods. There are methods to do that. And we're going to do copy and paste, and I'm more than likely I'm gonna have to modify them a little bit, um, because from the main application, they do a little bit more than really what we wanna do here. We just wanna do copy and paste. We just wanna do, an install. Okay, so this is completely dry. I have no idea how this is going to turn out because 'cause I've never done this. So this is a good test. This is part of what I'm doing. I'm actually creating these little standalone applications, which gives me a chance to focus specifically on methods to make sure that that there's no bugs and things like that. Because believe me, it is a lot of code. Okay, so to get started, let's go over to here, and we want the install routine. So I believe it's around 1600 something or other. We have to go to our main app here. Let's do it's somewhere around this. I think it's 10, 20. Let's try 20. Oh, here we go, 20. Okay. So if you notice, it's the exact same copy and paste structure. See, we're going to take this out. Panel info is what really shows in the main application. It'll show how many bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, gigabytes are left on certain devices. So, like, let's say you're looking at and this is for those who like to incorporate these ideas into, like, plugins for, let's say, Mod Organizer 2, things like that. Um, Basically, it will show, like, let's say you're looking at your mod folder, your folder with your extracted mods in it. It'll literally show, okay, you have this much space on that, and then if you switch over to the downloads folder, it'll look at that. But it also needs to separate the different folders that has those folders or files in it. As an example, you can have multiple download folder locations, and you can display every single one of those in your application if you want. It's just up to you. To me, it takes a long time to load just from one location, let alone multiple. So if you're working on like small packages of stuff, you could actually have these remote locations declared, and then you literally can grab the packages that you need. You can do that here. I don't know if Mod Organizer or anything has that kind of a plugin. I think it was kind of pretty much straightforward. But that'll give ideas out for those that do like to develop those particular things for Mod Organizer 2 or Vortex. Okay, so we're gonna grab this. This is actually see, you can see it's the exact same thing. If you've looked at this before, it's the exact same thing. This is kind of how easy it is. The hardest part to me, well, the part that takes the most time is actually putting all these little lines and boxes and all this stuff in it, the documentation, or to debug it because it may be something that I hadn't planned for. And and speaking from just straight programming, I can tell you a pitfall that programmers fall into, including myself. I'll tell you some pitfalls that programmers fall into. Okay, I don't think there's a 1600 here. Is there an 1800 we can go to? Yes, there is. Okay, there's no 1600. So let's go ahead and we're gonna paste it here. Say we're gonna paste it in our FOMOD utility. We're just doing copy and paste. Okay. We do have two errors we want to take a look at. There's two things that aren't accounted for, and we'll see what that is. Okay. Well, I can look up here and see, okay, it's the local, there's a local method that this calls, and then that local method calls the library method and the show panel. So we know we don't need to show the panel, so we're just going to take this out. That's not functionality I want in here. And that's actually application code. That's really not library code. That's application code. Okay, so we get this opcode 1620. We have a folder. I put this in brackets so it's like whenever you see that in something I write, that means it's optional. However, if there's nothing literally, if there's no folder to install, then it's going to assume you want to install everything, which it gets that from the in the main application, it gets it from all the mod folders. I'm not gonna go that elaborate with this. We're just gonna stick with individual kind of maintenance kind of mod things. Let's say we do like you have like a game and you want to kind of do like a maintenance on it. In other words, like you have an updated version you want to kind of directly apply, you can do that. Okay, so you can see it's all the same thing. This is the exact same layout. There's your waiting animation. This is where you define your thread. You call your thread. Now you notice there's no callback here. This is a new feature I was adding. I haven't tested this yet. This is where you can actually stack in multiple calls. So, like, let's say you are wanting to install a folder, you can stack in 1,000 installs right on top of each other. It only does one at a time. It does them in sequential order. It's first in, first out. So it's FIFO. Um, and you can just stack them in there, and whenever this completes, it'll say, "Oh, you got a install coming in." Well, I'm currently installing something right now, so I'm gonna put it in a queue. When I'm done, I'm gonna pull it out of the queue. We don't need that. That's gonna be a little bit too much. That's gonna make it a little bit too complicated. Okay, so there's your callback. There's the form it opens. So we're gonna have to look that up. It's in the games. Oh, it's in the games library, so no, we don't have to worry about it. We do have the games locals in the package I release, so all that is done for you. That should stay the same. That should stay the same. This one will have to be put in there. See what it says installing? We're gonna make this install. So we are gonna have to go over to here in the locals file, and we're gonna have to put 62. We're gonna have to define a token or a keyword that is 62 down here. See, there is no 62. So let's put a 62 in here. Okay. And we are going to put install. There we go. Okay, so install. See, word 62, word 62. So now you'll see that little spinning icon, excuse me, spinning icon that literally says install. So now we have the function that's being called. Okay, so to quickly summarize this, you can see when the callback comes in, that's when we display the installation report. That's what we show what was done. So we need to come back to this routine so we can open this form to say, yep, this is done. So this particular case statement starts the thread and then receives the output from the thread. That is why I didn't want to have an auto callback here because I need to be able to put if you look up here, I need to be able to put information into this particular data structure, which was what came into the case statement. That's where this stuff is parsed. See here, it says data list. That's what gets parsed into this. Hang on, my throat is really, really dry. And plus, it's a coffee morning. Okay, all right. So all we have to do now is just put in the install mods. So we're gonna go over to here. We're just gonna grab it. Instead of reinventing the wheel, we're just gonna go grab it. So let's see, we need install mods. And we're gonna modify this slightly. So we want this. Okay, it looks like it's in uninstall threads. Let's go ahead. I'm just gonna grab all this so it has a definition. And we want install mods. And it's not very big. And then we're going to put some traces in it and make sure that it's going to work. See the manifest, add manifest item. I want to make sure that works. Okay, and there's the callback. There's where we send the report back. See, because we set the report up and we send it back. Okay, so let's go back over to here. Now, where are we going to put this? So let's do this. Let's look up. I'm trying to keep things structured and organized where they're easy to find. We have service threads. We've got that. I believe we have application threads. Um, let's see. There's application threads, direct command. I think I'm gonna put this here. We have application threads. Let's go ahead and put that here like this. And we got a couple errors, so that's fine. That's just probably some references that don't exist in this application yet. Okay, so we have uninstall install. Let's grab one of these. And we want to separate this down here. So that way it makes it a little bit easier to see. I like for things to be kind of easy to see. So we want to separate that section from this section. Okay. And we're just going to call this FOMOD. Oops. There we go. So that way we can literally see what we can see we can see what each section the methods, subroutines, functions, they're all under a certain grouping. So you can see that. Oftentimes I'll take this and put it under here so you know which section it's under because it gets pretty big. All right, so let's see what we have. The code gets pretty big. Okay, so let's see. We have load order available. Okay, this is what I was talking about here. So if you passed a switch or an empty kind of no parameter, then it's going to install everything. And this is the listing of available folders. This is a listing of folders that is active in a load order. So we're not going to use this. This is not going to be used. In fact, we are probably we're going to take that option out. So let's just see what happens if we take that there. And if you want to put that in there, you'll need to work the code in. Okay, so if it's a folder name, blah blah blah, we're gonna leave all that stuff alone. And what this is doing, what this block of code is doing, is literally just creating a list of everything that you're wanting to install. Remember, I was telling you how I modified the functions to install more than one folder. So you can literally just select a bunch of folders, and that's the one you want to install. All right, so let's go to the next. We're down to one error here. We're going to trace this to make sure everything works okay. Okay, let's see what this is. This should be force actually. So we do need to change that. I'm going to go back over here and change that real quick. Never heard of a Fossey. Okay, so let's look up Fossey. We do want it's force. Okay, right, let's get rid of that. Okay, that's where forcing the install. Okay, let's see. All right, so here's this is our installation. See, there's where it calls the library method. This is the report and other information about the install, whether it was successful, whether it encountered an error, and all. That literally says the install is done. I can leave that there because I believe I have the status. I think I have the status set up. I believe that little status bar going across, I believe I set as PB status. I try to keep the controls the same. Now, the manifest item. This is part of this right here is part of the main application, and what this does is whenever the manifest is changed, instead of reloading the manifest all over again, which the manifest gets big, believe me, it gets really, really big. I went ahead, I go ahead and put the items directly into the list view, and it's kind of like a direct update. That's some of the newer modifications I was putting in, so that way it gives you more real time information without having to rebuild and reprocess. We don't want that. Let's see what this is. Let's determine if we have a check install report. Yeah, we can leave that. That's fine to see if it's open, but we're going to take this out because let's just take this out. It's a lot of extra stuff. What that did was that little check install report that shows you what was installed, whether it was replaced, which was in this app. Basically, yeah, and when you do an install, if that form is open, it automatically passes the folder you just installed to that. So it's like a double check so you can take a look at it. But we won't need that. Let's see. There's the report. So you can see where I'm assigning it to the list and we're doing the callback. So let's take a look and make sure that we have, that should be it. Um, all right. So yeah, and that should be it. So we have no errors. All right, so let's do a trace. We're gonna do a trace. So let me think about this a second. I already have the um I've already got Zazay installed in my game. It's already installed. So if I install it again, it's gonna overwrite some of the files. It's gonna because I've got some more files overwritten. So I'm trying to think of how we're going to test this. I really need another archive. I really need to download another archive here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to let's go here to the Nexus. Let's drop over here for a second. Um, yeah, we'll instead of having to do all that, VPNs are interesting in that it really Google and VPNs don't get along. All right, let's see. Let's find something here we can grab. What's something that I know didn't change or has changed but is small? Hmm. Let's try something like dynamic footprints, maybe. How about that one? Oh, how about dynamic? Do we have dynamic in? Oh, no wonder I spelled it wrong. Okay, let's see. Dynamic animation replacer. Blah 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 blah. Animation casting. Already got the dodge thing working. Let's see. There was one that was brand new. It's SKSE menu, I think. I just updated that one. So let's see what we have. Menu framework. I think I just updated this one. Let's take a look. This one should be small. All right. All right. So we have header, blah 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 blah. All right, so we'll do this one. Let's just do this one. We'll test with this one. All right, let's pull it down. Okay. And then we are going to we're going to drop it over here in this folder right here. And there is code. There is library code that will automatically copy your download files over into the appropriate directories, but you'd have to put that in the code. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me grab it, and then let's do a paste. All right. So there we are. It's over there. All righty. Okay. So we should be able to do an install. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to here and we are going to have to stop this before it calls this function so we can trace it. Let's go ahead and put that in. And then we're going to recompile this. I won't be able to do it here because again, the file names are too long. So, so this trace won't exactly work, will it? Yeah, that's not exactly going to work because I won't be able to do it from this folder. Hmm. Mm, Well, you know what we can do? Let's just see what happens. The worst that can happen. What's the worst that can happen? It can crash. All right. So, the goodness knows we haven't seen crashes before, have we? All right. So let's rebuild this. Let's get this thing compiled. And go over to here. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We got to put 94. Wasn't that 94? I think it was 94. All right. It was 90. Yeah, we don't need this. I'm gonna take a look at this. We don't have tab information in there. We do want to take that out. That's application specific. Now that I look at it, let's see. So we figure out what we're going to install. I could probably do some of the testing here. Let's try it. Gosh, what else? What could happen? All right, let's go over here. I'm gonna grab this. I need the file though, so we're gonna go ahead and grab this whole folder. Let's do a copy. Yeah, we need to copy in our development folder, in our test folder, right? I'm gonna go ahead and close these out because I'm not sure they are. And it kind of cleans up the space a little bit. We need to go what here? And then we're gonna drop this in here. Yep, we'll just replace everything. All right, good to go. All right, so let's see what happens. All right, want to display our folders. Got our folder. Um, no, we want to display our mods. I don't know if this will extract or not because again, these are too long. So let's just see what happens. All right, let's go in and let's extract the file. Okay. Let's go in and take a look at mod folders, which is over here. Let's, uh, okay, this does the install here. You know what we're gonna do for now? Let's just do this. Let's do an exit sub here real quick. Because what I want to do is I want to let's do a check install. Let's see if this actually, oh, good. Okay, there we go. So, wow, it worked. All right. So, I know when I try to do the FOMOD utility, the files that, the FOMOD had, because they had the FOMOD level even deeper, it didn't like that. The file names were way too long. Okay, so see everything, I've got everything installed in my folder. It matches. Okay, good. Now, let's do this. Let's trace this through. So now let's trace our install through, and that way we can verify that it's going to work like it should. Okay, so we have this. Let's install mod. Okay, so we hit this. Let's make sure that what's going into this particular method here is going to be the actual install that we're going to do. I'll make sure we have the folder name. So this is what calls the install function. All right, good. So far, so good. We're going to take this out. Okay, let's see what's going into it. So the data list is going in. So let's go over here and take a look at function info, and let's make sure our data list is correct. And in this list, we have a single folder name, which is the framework. All right, we're good with that. Okay. And it should have actually put over here, if it's the same, it would put like installing, which it did. Because I usually keep the controls the same, so everything is plug and play. So it should literally say installing something. It doesn't know what it's installing yet, but it does know it's about ready to install something. All right, so we are going to trace this whole thing through, and that way we can fix any potential bugs that we might see in the process, or maybe something we didn't account for. When I and again to stop for a moment, when I designed this, I designed it to be used with or without a manifest, but I never tested the without manifest. So this is actually the first time I've ever tested it like this. So it's going to be a new me, new you. Okay, so let's go ahead and punch this and let's trace it through. Um, First we got to get let's get out of here. And then I can bring up the games library. We can start stepping through that. Okay, not there yet. Let's go ahead and get out of our utility library here. And that should have been games because it took a second to come up. Okay, so here's the games library. Here's the install mod method. So let's go ahead and see if we get to here. Okay, so we made it that far. We're good. What was it saying in the movies? Good, good. Okay, so we made it that far. Let's see. Let's take a look at our install mods list. Our list is where? Where is our list? List. We got mod list. Okay, so mod list, we have one item. So good. Okay, so far so good. All right. And I did set this up to an array list, so that way you can specify as many mods as you want. And again, the reason I use an array list is because you can set the array list up from any source. Selected items, section items, category items, all items. You just pass it the list and it does that. So now let's see if it does its job. Okay, so we've got to get ready to do an install, and the actual install routine, this calls here. So let's make it this far, make sure we're good. Okay, so good. So far, so good. And we're passing the mod item in game data. So let's take a look at mod item. Mod item is the folder we want to install, and we're passing it game data. So what we can do is we can take a look. We can take a look at game data here. Game data, and then let's take a look at. This is a structure. So let's take a look at the install path. Installation path, that is correct. That is where my Skyrim is installed. Just if you just kind of want to peek at this stuff. Data folder. This is what gets populated. This is what opening a game does. It populates that data structure. So everything is in there to programmatically use. Okay, so now we're going to install the files. So here's where, see the manifest? I don't know how well this is going to work, but let's check it out. Let's see what we get. Let's punch it. We made it through. I don't know if it installed or not. We won't know yet. But I do know that in this structure here, if you take a look at it, let's go ahead and go over here because it is local. If you take a look at the install info, we won't need that. Install info. You can see the structure. See, it has the folder name. It's got the install count. Whether they're installed okay, it did not encounter any problems. And then there's the report. There's the install report. That's what we need. We got to get our hands on that. That's the and you can see these are what I call pre-list view items. This is what it takes the pre-list view item and generates a list view from that. Okay, so let's see. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is just going to add list to list, so we should be good. Let's hit this. We're going to skip down to there. Let's skip down to here. Okay, so we're so far so good. Stepping through. We're stepping on sunshine. Yeah. It's going to rain. Watch. It's going to hit. Okay. So you can see all right, let's go to the next one, which is here. All right, so let's go ahead and step it. Okay, 226 is a fatal error. 226 is like it couldn't copy a file. Not that it skipped a file or a file is, let's say, protected. Or it has an override set, that kind of stuff. All that's in that library. So it keeps track of all that. And if you look, I'm pretty sure it's going to be over here too in this folder. You can see there's an overrides folder. So this is where you would copy individual files to that you would not want to you do not want overwritten. And if it finds it there, it simply won't override it. And you can just delete that folder if you don't want anymore. Okay, so there's our check. This is where we're actually checking to make sure it installs multiple mods, so it's waiting for the next mod. That's what this next statement does. Let's go ahead and see if we make it to the end of this, and then we can close the progress. Okay, done. All right, let's go to, let's do well, we don't want to do that. Let's go back on our call stack here. Let's go back this way. Info message, that's going to show what was installed. Save config file, that saves the manifest. I'm not even sure the manifest is open yet. We could trace that through if we want, but let's just let's just plop something there and plop something there. All right, let's see what we got. So apparently it did put something into the manifest, okay, so we're good. And we will need that later. Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen with that, so we're just going to skip to the next one. Let's see. And then we'll just take our chances. Okay. All right. So this is what's going to do uh this right here. I can see where are we in the games library? Good. Okay. All right. So we're good. Yeah. All right. So we're done. Now this is in the games library. So I told it to install the file. It did. It gave me the results of it, and now it's passing the results back to me in a structure. Okay. We got to get out of this. This literally shows the status. That's what this is. This is the status here. See? So the status method just takes a control. It's a picture box control and allows you to put text messages, images, things like that. The only thing I haven't done to it is have message persistence and message priority. So if you've got multiple messages coming in, those messages that has a higher priority sits on top of other messages, and that way you don't see that flickering, because a lot of times you'll actually see it flicker back and forth between two threads popping messages in the same box. It works. It mitigates between the two threads, but they pop back and forth, and it definitely kind of it'll probably trigger something. I do need to fix that, but that's going to be done with a message priority system. So if you got two threads running, if one has a priority over another, then that message will always be displayed. The others will hold until that is done. Okay. Let's go ahead and so see, this is the one we called. So now we got a callback on it. It should come up here. So now when the callback happens, it should go here, which it does, and this should display a report. So let's see what we get. And there's our report. So that one worked straight out of the box. There was nothing I had to take some code out. Something didn't apply, but that's pretty much it. There's the install report from the so yeah, so there you go. So now you can drag and drop archive files. You can display archive files to extract. You can do that. Um, you can install them, which I just did. And if you notice, there is see, it's got the replace. This tells you what it did. This will tell you exactly what the install does, and it's the exact same code. I copied it straight out of the application I'm working on. We're going to check the manifest next, and hopefully everything got recorded in that like it should. And that's one of the things I was talking about working on previously. I have to go back and take a look at the manifest because it gets big. Like, I mean, it gets really big, especially if you keep modding a game continuously. And I need to be able to clean the manifest up with items that can be cleaned up. But here you can see it was replaced. It's basically all the same thing. So the icon check mark means that it was just copy. It literally would say copy. And the only ones you would actually really see here are copy, replace, and restore. Because this is actually installing, this is a manual install, so it's installing the mods directly for you. If you programmatically remove this mod, then it wants to restore any previous files that it had overwritten, and that's what restore does. That's what that restore option is, and that's it. So that should be the last piece of this particular mods. This particular application's additions, and you can look at all the different functions in the libraries. You can look at those as add-ons. They're add-ons. They're canned, and you just need to pass whatever parameter it's looking for. Most of the time, it's just file name or folder name is really what it is. And then, then it's going to send you some output, and then you just need to put that up in your application. So, designing this, I wanted to make it so that when they work and they're bug free, then it makes development incredibly easy because it's just so much faster because you're doing the same things. You're literally doing the same things over and over and over again. Like in the mod manager, you have install files, and this we put it in there. So, and if you copied the raw code, like let's say there's no library involved, it's just raw code, and you had to fix a bug in one, then you have to go back and fix the bug in the second application because the code is in line. It's directly put inside the source. Uh, with a library, it makes it so much better because when you compile the library, then that change benefits any application that calls that function. The core of the framework stays the same. It's very simple. It's very, very simple step by step. Callback when it's done. It's going to let me know. This basically says, "All right, I'm done. Here's the output you wanted," and then okay, thank you. I'll take it from here. Um, if a thread is not running, because remember, everything runs on a thread, literally everything. There are some things that don't because a thread is not required and add extra code. The execution is so quick, it doesn't need a thread. Like there's an option in here that opens up command shells, or it opens up browser locations if you want to look at a folder location. That code is in. I think that code is in here as well. I think it's something like 410. I don't know if it is. I usually leave it in here. If it's not, it's just copy and paste. So yeah, it's not in here. So it'll simply be copy and paste. Um, Hang on one sec. All right, I'm back. My daughter had stopped by to visit. Okay, so I'm gonna have to cut this short. All right, so yeah, it's just op 410. It's over here. I believe it's op 410. Let's go over this way. Let's do a 410 here. Yeah, it's the open file browser. So it would just simply be copy and paste. And then I would just copy and paste this over into the app. Now this is application specific. So, each application would have to be able to call this because this actually interfaces it. There's no library call for this. There are library calls in it, as you can see here, but there are no library calls for this. All right, so these are library calls. Yeah, she can stay that long. These are library calls. Her and her boyfriend's heading out. So these are library calls, and some of these are like really direct library calls, but there's no library that opens up a browser. So I would actually have to copy and paste this from application to application, but it stays the same. So that'll be that. So back over to here. I think it was 1620. Let's check this out. All right, so yeah, and that's pretty much it. So you again it just throws up a waiting animation, simple steps. Everything is broken down into steps, so that way you can kind of see animation, define the thread, start the thread, and that's it. So using the libraries, and there is a load order library which has I mean a lot of methods in there. It's I don't really put it in here because it's not really in this application, but I can throw together later on when I have more time. I need to go back and do some coding. I got to go back and work on the floating toolbars. I want to work on that some. Um, and a lot of this stuff is just kind of a work in process. It's kind of a whip. It's just something I'll come up with an idea and I think, oh, this would be cool. Let me throw this in. So it's not really like I'm dedicating everything to say, you know, uh, a particular application. I just kind of want to try new things and kind of see how it works out, see how kind of like the code works. And I like to look at the process, see how the process flows. But in the games library, there's all kinds of methods that you could use. Let's go take a look at it real quick. Like it's big. If you looked at the end of it, there's 58,000 lines in it. So there's a lot of methods. Not all these methods work. Some of these methods are, very, very old methods that I copy and pasted from a previous program that I've never updated. Some of these I haven't even tested yet. I have to get around to them. Um, but this is an interesting method here where it has move download file. This is where you tell it, this is a routine that literally moves. So like when you're downloading a file using, let's say Chrome, once a file is downloaded, it can automatically, this is what I was telling you, it would automatically move that file to whatever your managed downloads is. It does it for you. It doesn't need to be anything that's downloaded through an application, like through an appy, through a specific application or anything like that. It doesn't care. It just says, oh, you're downloading a file. I'm watching for downloads, so I'm going to automatically put it in this folder. And that way, and you can turn it on and off. At least in the main application I'm working on, I just put a little thing in there. You can turn it on and off. And that way, if I'm downloading mods, let's say for Skyrim, they automatically get put into the Skyrim download and to my managed downloads. Uh, And, a lot of like, some apps some mod managers use, like, an appy to do that directly, and that's good. I haven't looked at that appy yet to see if it would, something that, I could possibly use. I know, I think Wabbajack uses it and other applications use it. So, I haven't looked at that yet. But this just is generic because I'm thinking, okay, I can get mod files from anywhere, literally anywhere. I could have a friend who's working on a mod pack, and he wants me to test it, and he has a server, so I download it from the server, and that automatically puts that in my my managed downloads for me, so then I can go in and extract it, and then I can install it. So you can consider these add-ons. So it's like having a massive add-on pack that goes with every application that uses this library. And there's just a lot of code in here. So you can see it actually if you ever want to take a look at it. Game info is the class, and if you put a period after it, you can see all the different methods that's available. There's quite a few. There's a lot of reporting in here. See install by type report. There's a lot of different reports. I tried to put report at the end of whatever the method name is, so they're easy to pick out. Install report. In the case of the install report, so that's how you can kind of see it. Until I can get the source code, until I can get it cleaned up and released. I don't. I hate releasing it like it is because there's so many things in there that's so archaic that I really they just simply don't work. And it's no difference than me just typing in a bunch of gibberish and then releasing that. That's this to me it's the same thing. But there's so yeah, to kinda summarize, that should be pretty much standalone. So everything there should be from, cradle to grave, as they say. The old saying is from cradle to grave, from start to finish, beginning to end. There is, you can extract your files, you can drag and drop onto here. We expounded from that. We took drag and drop, turned that into, "Hey, we got a file list, let's just go ahead and show it," which is here. And then we can extract from this, which we did. Um, then from the extracted files, we can go in and install them, which is what we did. We just did an install mods. And yeah, that's it. I don't think this one actually supports multiple mods. You can try it. I don't know if it would do that out of the box. I don't want to do it to my game because it actually going to install it within my game. Remember, this is a manual thing at this point. Um, And I haven't really I did testing on the Symlinks. The Symlinks were tested back around Fallout Vegas, which was it's a long time back. This code is based on, another mod manager, so the same name. And actually, it's funny, I actually have the code history that goes all the way back to 2017. Like, and it's really cool. You can go back and you can run those apps and you can see where I made changes. And this one actually is kind of funny because I had not intended to do this project. Like, this was not something I set out to do. It's not like I was sitting on the couch and, all of a sudden I had this meditative moment, where you're you're floating off the couch and you got this little macaque monkey floating with you, and all of a sudden this dude talks about, bat guano. It's in the guano. I'm sure it is. I just don't want to stick my hand in there. But you know, um, yeah, so I didn't intend to do this project, and how it started is I'm sitting on the couch. I'm thinking, you know what? I want to do an interface. I've got this idea for an interface. I want a programmable interface. I want an interface that the user can literally just have a text file and define it, just literally define it. And that's how it started. So I sat down and got a whole bunch of paper, and I'll have to show you. I got like a 3-inch stack of paper where I just literally just wrote all these notes down, and they're not all my ideas. I honestly love to give credit where credit's due, and not I believe that I'm sitting there thinking, and you'll just have something pop in your head, and I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. I have no idea who thought of that, but kudos to whoever it was. Or maybe it's something somebody wanted to see. It's kind of like gathering. It's like tossing out a net. You pull it in, you gather the ideas, and then you make your product. So a fisherman can really, to me, he can be proud of the fact he's a fisherman, but he didn't create the fish. So, but anyways, so that's how it started out, and, I'm thinking, "Yeah, interface, cool." So then I started kinda doing it. I even have backups of that code, which has really nothing in it. And I'm thinking, oh, let me do this. So I can do a library. But before the library came, I'm like, oh, I got this interface. Can't really test it. And it's funny how stuff like that works, right? It gets bigger. It just gets bigger without your knowledge. So I'm like, oh, okay, let me try this out. And I can't really test it. So, hey, what if I use this old code and just copy the whole thing over with this new interface? Well, that was interesting because it was a whole different design. So just copy and paste, made some corrections. Okay, cool. Now started getting a game bug. So before I even got the project finished, now remember, this just started out as an idea. I kind of sitting on the couch. I was bored, thinking, why not? I've never done that before. Let's give it a shot. And so next thing you know, next thing you know, I'm thinking, wow, I wanna play the game. I got bit by the game bug. So I can't use this like it is, I don't think. So then I started working on the gaming a lot, then the games. But the library hadn't existed yet. So I started putting it in the thing, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I created a whole bunch of these other little mod folders, such as that build zip catalog. There was a bunch of them. There's a reverse catalog. I'll talk about that stuff later. There's other little utilities that I had to help build databases to make it easier to find things. And yeah, and I'm thinking, and that's when I realized, wow, I've got to go back in if I make one change because they're standalone. They literally are absolutely standalone. The any file it uses, it gets it from a resource that's compiled into the code. So, and if you want to change it, then you just run the program with, I believe it's like a hyphen create configs keyword, and then that actually writes the any file in the same path as the program, as the application, the little command shell app, and then that way you can change it because it looks for it locally, and if it doesn't find it, it uses it uses its internal resource. And that's what those did. So I had like a bunch of them, and then I realized as well, and all the code was new, so I was just writing as I go. So I'm just kind of streaming thoughts into code, and nothing's tied together. I don't know if it's going to work or not, and and then I'm thinking, oh, I need to change this. So then once I changed it in one, I had to change it in two or three, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is getting old. First couple times it was kind of fun. It's like, this is fun. I never had this kind of challenge before, and it was kind of cool. Like, okay, I'm you rise to the occasion, so to speak. So, you lift up and take the challenge. So, I took the ST plunge, cool, right? So, but then I'm thinking, okay, there's a better way to do this. So that at that point in the process, that's when I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a bunch of libraries, and of course that expounds. That starts to expand quickly because then you're thinking, oh my god, I got this, and this. Why let's put all this in libraries? Heck, let's just have a games library, a load order. How about a plugin? How about add a BSA? And it makes it more modular because then if you wanna mod other specific games, you can put the type of game you're modding in a text file, and then you just simply call a different plugin, or you can dynamically load the plugin. You can do that also in VB. There's more, like I say, there's more there's more appies available. There's more DLLs available for, let's say, C# or C+ than there is for Visual Basic, but you can load them in VB. You literally can load them, and you can still call their functions. There's just a little bit more extra to it than what you would see in C# or C++ or in a C-based language. This is possible. But I really wasn't so much interested in that. I wanted to get something where everybody could kind of see how like how to do things, how processes take place, how you code them, and anybody can do it because it's written really where you can see it. I try to give variable names. Oh my god, I try to give variable names, the name of what they do, and try to make everything sequential so that it's step by step. But yeah, that's what all it is. That's how all that developed. And then it wasn't until much later that I decided to share that. And that's when I first shared it. I believe it was with the Sim Settlements community, and I had first shared it was like a first look kind of a thing. And there was so much code in there, like there's hundreds of thousands of lines across many different libraries that all had to be they were all interrelated in some way, and they all had to be improved, bug fixed, new features, go back and rework it because new features broke something else. Just a lot of different things to tighten up that data stream, that process stream from point A to point B. Okay. So that's pretty much that. I'm going to call this version 45. Everything should be in there, but it kind of shows you how to do it. And you get to listen to me kind of just ramble on. Think Led Zeppelin. Just rambling on. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and upload this, and I got to get the new version compiled and uploaded. Don't think I forgot anything. And I'll do more of these, just to kind of talk. And I may eventually. I know I had a friend at work. He wanted to actually start like a podcast where we just kind of talk back and forth about different things, philosophies, and how, like, if you want to apply philosophy, let's say, to the world or a political situation, to life, to relationships. We were talking about doing that. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. That was actually his idea. And I thought, okay, we could probably do that just to kinda, because sometimes words can have a calming effect, and, it's kind of an it's I don't it's cool how it works. I love how it works, and I thought, "You know what? Yeah, we could do that. We could have a lot of fun, and, we can hit the really hard questions if you want." And I'm pretty sure I know some questions gonna come up automatically. And, but just you could ask anything like that. It'd be really cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna hop off here, upload this, and yeah, I hope everybody has a great day. And I hope you could see how easy it is to kind of change it, kind of add stuff to it, and consider the games library just an add-on pack for whatever the interface is. All right, guys, have a good one, and I will chat back here eventually. Kind of sounds like, I will get back eventually. Alright, guys. Have a good one.